Welcome back to another episode of Generation Red, the kettle corn of Husker Fan Podcast, where we try to be sweet, but after Saturday, I don't know, we might get just a touch salty. I am your host, Ken.
Hey, folks, it's Scott.
I'm another host, Coach BA.
We're not sure if Justin is going to make it in tonight. He's got a little bit of a tech issue with his camera. Last I knew, he was going to try a USB solution for his camera and his computer, or he was going to take his butt down to Best Buy and buy another Elgato to be able to use the HDMI out. So I remember what those tech issues were like. So hopefully Justin gets himself reconnected and either can join us tonight or do his own show either later tonight or tomorrow. So Justin, our thoughts and prayers are with your technical issues. But what else can we say, guys? Nebraska yet again loses another one-score game to a top 25 opponent, 28th in a row if you're counting. I mean, who's not counting at this point, right? And you know what? I didn't do any of the fancy schmancy stuff I normally do for this show. This is literally a show for everybody, not just us who are watching or doing the show, but for guys like the other Dave who's watching on YouTube. Thanks for joining us, Dave. Today's show is kind of special in the fact that it's going to be part discussion, part therapy, and we will be answering your questions. So anybody on the YouTube chat or anybody watching on Facebook or even Twitter, if you happen to be in the video feed, please participate with us. Any questions you might have or comments you might have about the game, we're taking all of them. And we'll address whatever we can address. So tonight's just a discussion. We're just going to talk. We're going to talk ourselves down off the ledge or talk us off the ledge. I'm not sure which way this is going to go. For me, I'm okay. I'm going to be fine because we're close. Damn it. We just got to figure out the line of scrimmage, right? I mean, if we were going to take, if I was going to ask you guys what your overall takeaway is from Saturday, for me, it starts up front, both sides. We got whipped both sides up front. So I'll just leave it. That's what I'll ask you guys first. What's your key takeaway from this game? The one thing that stood out to you that says, geez, if they fix that, we could be pretty good this year.
I feel just there was, I think my biggest disappointment in the game was just the gap there still seems to be up front between us and the Michigans of the world. And what makes me nervous is there's probably even still going to be another gap between the Michigans in the world and the Penn States of the world. But that's it. We're going to worry about that in a couple months. So I think that was kind of my thing is, man, there's just still a pretty solid gap between us and the Michigans. And it is what it is. And, hey, I know we lost a one-score game. And, yes, I'll just be real. Hey, I would just watch the game, no scoreboard, no nothing. I almost felt like that game was not a one-score game. It just felt like they were manhandling us. But, hey, it's a one-score game. Gave ourselves the chance to win at the end, which is exactly what Matt Rule wants to do. And couldn't make the plays when we needed. Just need a couple more dudes to make some plays.
Yep, it was – there were some themes that I saw throughout the game that were just – kind of reminiscent of what we've dealt with for many, many, many seasons in a row. Like you said, our line of scrimmage woes that, I mean, even if you had Nash Hutmaker and Ty Robinson still on this team, there were some issues with tackling angles and just wrapping up tackles that, I mean, they might have made a marginal difference, but I don't know if it necessarily translates to us winning the game. And then, just giving, you have a statue prototype or statue archetype of a quarterback, even though he appears to be a little bit more mobile than whatever limited mobility that we saw last year. But it's not going to be enough to compete against, the upper echelon of the Big Ten. They're just going to have too much speed. But you need a good offensive line for a quarterback like that. And yes, there was a little part of me that was selfishly in the moment in the game, like, oh man, what if we just threw in, not to like bench Raiola, but what would happen if we just threw in TJ Lateef just to throw them off or something. But then after the game, and I could sit there and really process and go through the emotions. It's like, no, we need a team to be doubled down on what we want to do, not what, moving
100%.
all around and throwing people off. Like, we need a better offensive line. We need a better defensive line. And some tackling issues. But at the same time, I do have to take a step back and think, what was I thinking preseason? And my thoughts prior to the season was our defensive line is going to take a step back this year.
Yep.
Right.
And that's just what's happened now. It's going to be like that for the rest of the season. We're going to play lesser teams, but still Big Ten teams. They're still going to knock our teeth in. And so it'll look a little bit better in some of these games coming up. But it just kind of, I don't know if it feels nice, but it's like, okay, we are where everybody thought we were going to be. And everybody still, prior to the start of the season, was thinking we're an 8-4 team. Yeah, just looking at this from a realistic standpoint, that yes, our defensive line is not as good as it was last year, as expected.
Right.
Our linebacker room is doing some questionable things, which was kind of expected. Our linebacker room was kind of a question mark going into this season. And then our offensive line, yeah, there were some storylines that were hopeful, but seeing it play out, it's just we got a little ways to go, gentlemen. But like my dad was saying, I do agree with him. We are making steps in the right direction, and this is not the Frost era. We're making steps in the right direction. This isn't the steps in the right direction of Husker Pass. This is, we have talent in the quarterback room. We have talent in the wide receivers core. We have a solid running back. We have great cornerbacks. We have potential across the field that they just haven't put it together quite yet. And they probably won't put it together in a really meaningful way before the season's over, but it's going to win us more games this year than we won last year, in my opinion.
Well, this is to your point there, Scott, and to what I was talking about the lines of scrimmage. The other Dave asked, were we really manhandled on the defensive line, or did 3 long TD runs by Michigan skew the stats? I didn't dive too deeply into the stats, and yes, the answer somewhat to your question, Dave, is yes. There were about 200 yards worth of in 3 plays, 51 yards, 75 yards, and 37. So a lot of those yards did come at the expense of those long, but you're still giving up over 100 yards rushing, whether they break off all those long runs or not. They still averaged 8 yards a carry. So you're right. But that defensive line, man, there was nobody there to hit those guys until the second or third level, except for that third long run by Marshall, who broke like 4 tackles. So again, tackling's an issue. He was hit at the line, still managed to get through. We knocked 3 guys who were, it was reminiscent of the run that Iowa pulled off on that pass out to the sideline when Robinson had him wrapped up and 3 guys came in and knocked him off of him. It looked exactly the same way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a good question, other Dave. Appreciate that. Moonbot said, of course, howdy nerds. Appreciate you, Moonbot. We'd love to hear your input tonight on the game as well. We're just having a roundtable discussion. We really don't have an agenda tonight. However long we go is however long we go. If you guys have got some comments that we can drop, which this was an interesting one from the other Dave, switch Gunner to right tackle and give Pritchett a full game at left. Logistically, as a coach, BA, what does that do to the continuity on the line when you're switching a guy? I don't think he's ever played.
That'd be a tough switch, just to switch through. That would be a really tough thing. And I think my biggest thing I would have here is I am fully in favor of giving Pritchett an entire game at left tackle. Here's what I would say. I don't think that's going to happen at this point, because if we were going to do it, why didn't we do it in the non-conference schedule, I guess, is at least that's just how I'm thinking of it. And I know you can make the argument of rotating some dudes in, but I mean, Pritchett's just not getting a ton of snaps there right now. And I don't know. I know there's a lot more going on than anything we would see in the games because I've seen, some of the other media sources and podcasts and whatnot, kind of voice some of that of why don't we just keep Pritchett out there? And from what I'm seeing with my own eyes, I agree. Obviously, there must be something that coaches are seeing in practice, or because I get it, he makes a mistake or whatever, but I get the accountability part of it. That's why I feel like there has to be more stuff going on than just what we're seeing in the games. Because right now we're at Pritchett makes one mistake, he's out. Other guys make a few mistakes. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just one of those that I feel like there has to be more than what we're not getting. So I'm going to do the best I can to just trust the coaching staff. From what I see, I just feel like Pritchett's the most talented tackle, especially in the run game, man. Dude, he's able to manhandle some dudes in the run game. He's able to manhandle some dudes that some of our other options at tackle haven't shown, so far in the game. So it's just, man, I think logistically it'd be a tough switch, but I just feel like there has to be more than what we're seeing because, I don't know, maybe he's committing so many penalties in practice that as soon as he commits one during the game, they're just too scared to I don't know. I just feel like, again, he has a one false start. He's done.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you get the point I'm trying to make of like, then there's other dudes who can sometimes make some mistakes and it's not that they're out the rest of the game. So that's where it gets weird for me is, I don't know. It's just kind of, tackle's been a weird one for me. And I have a bigger point about the offense, but I would like to get your guys' thoughts on this before I bring something up later. The entire offense in general.
You're good. You're good. I guess if I were to answer the other Dave's question is I can't imagine Gunner's. I don't recall if Gunner played any right tackle at all. At the switch, and I've heard this from other offensive linemen, as a guy who's never played football, I kind of trust the experts on this. And one of the guys I deeply trust in these kind of situations is a guy who's won a national championship at Nebraska, and Rob Zadiska on his podcast on Doc Talk Sports. He has made that point before that especially for tackle, switching one side to the other, especially with the blocking scheme that we have where we generally don't go forward off the ball, we're usually taking a lateral step one side or the other. It's different when you switch from one side of the line to the other, even though you're stepping generally in the same direction. It's just different. The angles are different. The plan where you punch, where you engage the defensive lineman is different when you switch sides. So he says the logistics of that is difficult. Now, we're not talking specifically about the Gunner versus Pritchett situation here. We're just talking offensive line in general. So that would be that would be where I would have some trepidation. Would that work? Would that just make more problems against teams with a good pass rush? I remember Zadis talking specifically about how they made that switch going into the 94 national championship game between, he used to have Joel Wilkes next to him, and they switched and they put Brendan Stye next to him instead, and they kept stepping on each other. Or on the other side of the line, can't remember who the tackle is, and Zach Weger kept stepping on Wilkes and broke his foot in practice or hurt his foot in practice, so he wasn't as effective as he could have been in the game. And those logistically, it's just, I know they had to deal with Warren Sapp, so I understand the switch, but at the same time, Wilkes knew exactly what he was doing on that right side versus left. Now it's just switching guards around, not tackles. Mm-hmm. So I would be a little nervous at making that switch if it were me. For me, I guess if I were to make a secondary key point or key takeaway from this game, and I've heard it from some other podcasts as well, and it's kind of bothered me, the lack of really being able to effectively run the ball.
We're on the same page. Yes.
It just seems like poor, several guys have said Holgorsen had to basically close off half the plays he had on his sheet because nobody could block. You couldn't run and you couldn't protect Dillon. So what do? That's half of your game plans in the crapper. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But yes, I hear you the other day. It seems like such a waste if our two best tackles can't be on the field at the same time, but I understand the issues and the logical issues. Speaking of the best tackles, and I'll let you go here in just a second, Coach. I know you have something that's just burning to get spoken of. What happened to Teddy? I mean, I know all the injuries have made it to where I don't think he's quite as effective as he was. He absolutely manhandled Aiden Hutchinson in the 2021 game. Do you remember that? Aiden Hutchinson had nothing to do with that game at all. He was not effective in that game at all until Teddy popped his ACL. And then all of a sudden, Aiden Hutchinson was all over the field. What happened to Teddy? Do you think all those injuries that he's had to rehab from have really limited his ability as a right tackle?
That would be my biggest assumption. Obviously I wouldn't know that for sure, but you would have to think that would just have to take such a toll to just come back from it just multiple times. You know what I mean? So I just feel like it's just injuries piling up, and especially when we're talking about a position like tackle and we have big, large guys that are expected to sometimes be a little bit more agile and go. It's just, I think it's just injuries piling up.
Go ahead, Scott. You have any thoughts?
No, that's what it looks like to me. It just looks like his body is he's just half a step slower than he used to be, which that's all it takes to make all the difference.
Mm-hmm.
And then, with our offensive line, like, I don't know. I've really tried to tame the whole we need to fire every single coach for whatever position continues to struggle. But I am really starting to get I'm losing my patience when we've had this offensive line for, I don't know, 3-4 years, 3 years under Rule with the same coach now. And it seems like it's regressing, because last year I didn't really particularly hate our offensive line. I didn't have any qualms with it. I knew it could be better, but it wasn't like an Achilles heel. And the year before that, I thought our offensive line was underrated. I thought it did a good enough job to give our quarterbacks time to do stuff. We just didn't have good quarterbacks. And so this year is really underwhelming and really disappointing in that respect, that I feel like we should be at the next level. And it feels like we took a step back.
Right.
And I just can't figure out how to reconcile that outside of the realm of coaching. Do we have a coaching problem as of now? I don't know. I'll have to wait till the end of the season and I can get a real full picture. But right now I'm questioning that.
Well, it's not uncommon these days to see coaches go bye-bye mid-season. I mean, Deshaun Foster's already out at UCLA. Apparently, Tony White is very interested in that gig. And then Mike Gundy, the long-time coach at Oklahoma State's gone. They let him go too. So it's not uncommon to have coaches move on that aren't being effective. And I hate the narrative, that we kept him because we wanted to get Dylan and all that. I can understand that being a logical reason why you would, but I mean, the question about Donovan Raiola's effectiveness as an O-line coach, being it's his fourth year of his first ever full-time offensive line coach in Power 4 college football, and he's having to deal with integrating transfer portal players into his line every single year. It's hard to develop that continuity when you got 2 or 3 hired guns every year that are joining your offensive line. So I can see that would be a difficult place to go.
While I do completely agree with the thing you just said, Ken, here's what I will ask the rhetorical question probably is, I do hear you, and I do think all of that does play a factor. I guess my question would be, theoretically, all these other teams in the country are dealing with the same thing, right? All the hired guns, all the mercenaries. And I understand that other teams also have offensive line issues. I'm not saying that. But I just feel like there's been teams out there that, I mean, they're going through, same hired guns, I guess. So, I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying, but like, I don't know. I just look
for an inexperienced coach. This is probably an issue that's hard for him to deal with.
Right. No, 100%. I agree with that.
For certain. Other Dave has another interesting comment here. Let's see here. Which you can answer this, Coach. Are most O-line OLs trained to step backwards in pass pro? Michigan DNs were meeting DR and meet DR's lap all game. Do teams ever push forward on pass pro?
It would be very hard for your leverage. I wouldn't teach it that way. Again, maybe somebody is. I just feel like if you do take that step forward, like especially at the tackle spots when you're getting the width of the pocket, like center and guards are responsible for, the depth of the pocket. The tackles are responsible for how wide that, pocket is. And if you're going forward, because you can't push them down the field, it'd just be very tough leverage-wise to go forward and then back. Now, I could see maybe an initial quick strike, but I feel like that'd be more of a hands and upper body type of deal as opposed to a full step forward, because then at some point you're still going to have to come backward, right? That's just kind of me.
Yeah, and I don't know. For me, my brain goes, well, if you step forward and that defensive end is wanting to
right.
You're outside,
right,
you're giving him the leverage to get around you quicker as opposed 100%. To reacting to what he's doing.
Yeah,
right?
100%. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Hey, we got Big Red Junkies.
Great dudes.
They are in the chat. Hey, boys, good to see you. Thanks for popping in. We appreciate it. This is game discussion and audience Q&A night, Junkie boys. So by all means, participate. We're having a therapy session. That's all we're doing. We're just kind of working through everything we saw and maybe come up with some ideas of what Nebraska gets to do going forward. Now, I don't know if you've covered what you said. You had something you wanted to say about the offense, BA, that's just kind of nipping at you. So
let her rip, dude.
No, I haven't talked about it at all yet. This is just a thought that I had from rewatching the game. And this might be an overreaction on my part, and I'm willing to say that. But I will say, looking at our offense currently and having Dylan Randall on this, we're at what, 16 months since he, flipped his commitment from Georgia to Nebraska, right? I think that happened in December 2 years ago,
Yes.
So I'm looking at that, and from that moment on, the minute that happens, I think we all know the type of quarterback that we're getting, right? And that sort of deal. And obviously he is beyond talented. He's very good pre-snap. He has all the arm talent in the world. Some of those throws he makes, like those are Sunday level throws, right?
Yes.
But then I just feel like the way this offense is constructed, and I don't mean in schematic wise, like play calls. I mean in terms of like personnel and guys that we can. I don't feel like we've constructed a team on offense personnel wise that puts him in the best position. It feels like it's made for a different quarterback, which is very frustrating because we have one of the most talented throwers of the football in college football. But like, hey, we know he's not a mobile guy, so what should we – yeah, we have a lot of great weapons. That's amazing. I'm not hating on that at all. But here's what I'll say. We don't have a mobile quarterback. Why the hell do we not have left tackle figured out? Like, that's one of my issues is like, how the hell do we not have left – okay, say last year, whatever. How do we not have left tackle figured out? You make an argument we don't have right tackle figured out, right? Have either of those spots figured out very well. And then I look at it as, okay, you know the type of quarterback that he is, okay? You're not going to get a ton of quarterback run game from him at all, and that is just fine, obviously. But here's the thing. Why do we only have one freaking running back worth anything right now? And not worth anything in terms of getting a lot of yards. I do think we have some backs that have some talent, but like we're not seeing it turn into production right now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we basically are leaning on one dude. We don't have we're not our run blocking struggled a bit, obviously. Just look at the numbers, look at the rushing discrepancy. And when you have a quarterback that's not going to get you that quarterback run game, it's just you got to have more than one back is what I'm saying. Like, like Emmett Johnson's leading the Big Ten, I believe, in carries right now. He's on pace for an absurd amount of carries throughout the year. And our games are only getting, not tougher as in like the Michigan, but look at the first 4-game stretch. look at the next 4-game stretch. I think we all agree those next 4 games are going to be tougher because we don't have any Akrons. And think about this, though. He's leading the Big Ten in carries when he barely played anything in the second half against Akron, and he didn't play in the second half against Houston Christian, and he's still leading the Big Ten in carries right now. And to me, when you have a quarterback like Dylan, the best way to showcase everything we can do is to have a strong inside run attack. And when he is passing, our tackle's got to be figured out. Where I just feel like in terms of, again, not schematic-wise, but I don't feel like this offense is designed in terms of the personnel we have right now to best suit Dylan, which is frustrating to me just because we've known, I mean, it's not like he just popped up on campus 3 months ago. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I have an interesting tweet that I want to read that I just happened to see right before I headed downstairs here to set up for the show.
Bring it.
From Ben Stevens on X. It's at Ben Scott Stevens. 25 FBS QBs have thrown for 1,000+ yards in 2025. 14 FBS QBs have thrown for 10+ TDs in 2025. 5 FBS QBs have completed 100+ completions in 2025, and only one quarterback has done all of that with a 75%+ completion rate as well, and that's Dylan.
Yeah.
He's number one when it comes to all 3 of those. I mean,
yeah.
If we're sitting here looking at an offense that it looks like it's struggling to find success for him, but at the same time you see it and you go, holy crap, with what he has to work with. I think he's got some great wide receivers. I think he's got a fantastic set of running backs to catch the ball out of the backfield. Right. We need to find that steady running game from in the backfield.
Yes.
Where we know that we're going to get 4 to 5 carries every time one of those guys touches the ball so that the defense doesn't get to just load 8 dudes in the box all day long and bring pressure as soon as it's 2nd and 7. You know,
100%.
But yeah, I hear you. But I couldn't believe it when you were saying that. And then I was looking at this tweet I saw. I'm like, man, the numbers are completely different than what it feels like we're seeing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. And I don't know. I'll just ask you this, and it's okay if not. I can't remember. It was yesterday. Did you guys listen to Matt Rule's press conference yesterday?
I have not listened to any of the press conference stuff at all since the game.
I've seen clips.
Here's what this is kind of interesting, and I won't go through the whole thing. There's just one quote in particular that keeps kind of, considering we played 4 football games.
I've read some sound bites. I've read some written text.
When he said that he, went to his staff meeting and pretty much said, hey, who's our running back too? And they're still figuring that out. And it's like, boys, we just played 4 games. Do we really not know who the second running back is? You know what I'm saying? And I get it, but also, like, we got to figure out who the hell that is, in my opinion. That's not – okay. Last year, I think you guys know, I was very frustrated with a lot of things said in press conferences. Like, that actually made me mad. Not necessarily from Matt Rule. We don't need to go down that rabbit hole, but you know what I'm getting at. Like, there are some things. So that's not one that makes me mad. That's just a quote that stuck out to me right away of just like, damn, we've played 4 games now and we're still don't have an answer on who's the second running back. That's kind of crazy to me.
Yeah, this is kind of what I was getting at earlier in the beginning of the show when I was talking about archetypes, that we have Dylan Raiola, no doubt in my mind, if we had even 1 grade higher of a running back room and 1 grade higher of an offensive line room, he would undoubtedly be in the Heisman contention overtly. His stats would look even more incredible.
Yeah. No,
and I think at this point, these kinds of things can either you only have 2 potential options as to why this is not being figured out. Option number 1 is there are some coaching incompetencies. I'm not going to go into details of what that entails, but there are some inconsistencies with coaching that need to be figured out in one way or another. Or two, and this is kind of tied to the coaching issue, but it's in a slightly different category. We are in a day and age where you can take an Indiana team and you can make it a playoff contention team in year one, and then in year two they can beat the brakes off of Illinois 63-10 because you're able to bring in the tools, and that is inextricably tied to, do you have the coaches that are competent enough to understand what the talent is and how to develop it and how to find it. And so it has to be one of those two things. Either your coaches are not developing your players, or your coaches are not finding the players that are capable of performing at the highest level they possibly can, or it's both. There is no other explanation. At this time, in this college day and age, with NIL and with the evening of the playing field, let's say, it really now boils down to, do you have the administration? Do you have the NIL pot of money? Do you have the eyes that are capable of pulling in the correct players and then putting the right players? Why, just like you said, Coach, why do we have 3 running backs behind Emmett Johnson and they cannot figure out where to turn that carousel and then stop it? What does that mean? Does that mean that we have 3 equally non-RB2s? Mm-hmm. Or are they unable to actually definitively make a decision? What's wrong there? There's a problem there. We're now in game 4. We've just completed game 4. We are a third of the way through the season, and there are issues that are, in my opinion, now a direct reflection of coaching. There's no other way to explain it. I mean, if somebody can entertain that for me, I mean, entertain I'll be wrong, but I've been sitting here bouncing around in my head. I'm like, I can't see a more reasonable explanation.
Whose seat is warmer right now in their office? EJ Barthel or Donovan Raiola?
Donovan. Okay. And I say Donovan because even with having Emmett Johnson in our running back room, he can only do so much with an offensive line that can't consistently get pushed, can't consistently push blocks open for him. I mean, he's feast or famine. That's truly what he is. He's either running 8 or 9 yards, or he's running 2 or 3. There's nothing in between. And that is not because of Emmett Johnson. That's because the offensive line is not doing their job. Emmett Johnson's job would be so much easier if he had an offensive line that was able to command
against Power 4 competition. You're exactly right, because they were able to do their job against Akron, and that's easy enough. And the difference this year against the lower level teams is they did the job and they were dominant in doing so. So that was better than we've seen recently. So to me, that was a step forward. But they're not doing their job when it really matters. And Michigan was just all in their grill all day long. Big Red Junkies came up with a comment specifically related to Dylan and his mobility from the game. True or false? DR is more mobile than he showed this week after getting fully stepped on by Prochaska in quarter number 2. And there's second part to that. They said there was a shot of his ankle right after the half and it was swelled AF, which it absolutely was. There's no doubt about it. He was definitely hobbled that day. And one more thing before I want to shout out my buddy, the Georgia a-hole, as he likes to call himself, my buddy Thomas, who's, I can't remember. I think he's like a Tennessee fan, or maybe he's an Ole Miss fan. I can't remember, but he likes one of those dumb SEC teams down there that likes to pay players for the last 30 years before NIL. So I don't know if he's still watching. I'll find out here shortly. I know he's not a fan of either of those teams. So, but anyway, just so the thoughts on Dylan there, that the Junkie Boys.
I think that's 100% true. No, I think that's 100% true. His mobility was extremely limited, just being stepped on. And those are the things that suck about football, because something that you would think could be like so little of just, oh, he got stepped on. Like whether it's the NFL, college football, high school level, shoot, you can even talk about 7th grade football. Some of those things linger for a month, 2 months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'll tell you, even at our high school level right now, I got a kid that gets stepped on in game 1, and the kid's still hobbling around dang near a month later. So and Dylan, it's a good time to have a bye week. Hopefully that can give him an extra week of rest on it. But that's what sucks, is those little things in football probably are going to limit him for the next few weeks.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And in talking of Dylan, the other Dave says, we do not deserve Dylan. So lucky he's here. His uncle may be failing him, but at least he has Holgo and the wideouts. Yeah,
I've seen a lot of that going around too, and I can't say I entirely disagree with it. My initial takeaway of watching the game live was Dylan's so much better than everything we have right now. You know what I mean? That's my takeaway, is like,
yeah,
I don't want to be the guy that says we don't deserve him, because I don't want him to hear this and take off. But like, I do get the point of like, yeah, we need to support him better.
Oh, for certain. I was sitting there on the couch in the moment of the emotion going, why don't we give TJ Lateef at least a series or a shot or something like that, just to see, like we did last year with Dylan when he struggled in whatever game that was. We pulled him off the field so he could watch a series. Maybe that was Purdue or something like that. But yeah, I understand why we didn't. I mean, he still threw for 308 after getting sacked 7 times. He should have thrown for 420 if they would have protected him worth a dang, because I think you were at the game, right, Coach? There were dudes running wide open.
Oh, 100%.
He just didn't have time to get him the ball.
Yeah, I think teams are going to continue to struggle to defend and cover our amazingly talented wide receivers. Are we going to protect 15 enough to be able to give? Yes, because
and
not the Hail Mary, but the one touchdown he threw to Ja'Cory was like, that's an NFL ball right there. Like, that throw, you need to hit those on Sundays. And like,
and hey, the one he threw for the Hail Mary, that thing's 60 yards in the air.
100%. 100%.
Flown 70 if it would have been let go, So he's got the arm, no doubt about that. And we'll circle back here, Scott. You were talking about Kirk Cignetti. Big Red Junkies say there's a wide spectrum about how teams are built. Indiana and NU are not building the same way or the same thing.
So like,
the moment Sig takes another job, they'll just crash right back down to earth.
I go back and forth on this, because like, I do agree with this, like, for the most part, but like, where I come back to, and Indiana has been a team that has frustrated me a little bit, because like, you look at as bad as Nebraska was before we got Matt Rule, like the last 3 years that Indiana had before they hired Cignetti, they won a total of 3 Big Ten games.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
that's where I struggle, is they went 1-8 in the Big Ten, and I get it. Trust me, I understand we're doing it differently. I get it, but that's where I get frustrated sometimes. Is we're in hell, and other teams figuring out.
It is kind of a difficult predicament to have to hash out, because, I mean, yes, on paper you look at Cignetti, his philosophy is kind of a revolving door of a program, that he's just going to bring in the players he needs. And if the players that stuck around are good enough to remain a starter, then they do. And it's just like that every season. I mean, it's only year 2, so who's to say what he does at Indiana or how long he sticks around. And so when you look at Rule and he wants to build a program that has longevity, and he wants to build a developmental program, there are trade-offs to that you can't exactly, because you're not going to expect as many guys to transfer. So you can't expect to bring as many guys in. So you have to be much more selective, and there's a lot less room for error with your decisions of who you bring in. And then, to give Matt Rule credit, I mean, I've seen people say that having the injury that we sustained with Mac Markway has had at least some impact on what we can do offensive scheme wise with his pass blocking. And And so there's a lot of things that, you know, they're two different programs. And so it's kind of comparing apples to oranges. So I will give Junkies, you know, you're right. But kind of just to go back to my point, I'm going to hammer this down a million times until I'm proven wrong, which I hope I'm proven wrong. Offensive line.
Yep.
That's literally the difference between this team being 5-0 or sorry, 4-0. Being 4-0 and having a front runner for a Heisman candidate and people still not even paying attention to Raiola and losing to Michigan in a really weird way.
Yeah, I think there's some Dylan hate out there, like Moonbot says. The Dylan hate is
100%.
ridiculous.
But I
I
think
think
when
there's some
people
bias. There's some national bias because he quote unquote mimics Mahomes so much.
right. And so I had
You know,
something-
and
yeah.
Rule addressed that. He said it's just
Oh,
unfair. It's lazy reporting. Do your jobs, cover the player. Don't worry about the things on outside or whatever. Just take a look at what he's done. Like I said, he's the best in college football when it comes to completing 75% of his passes and generating the numbers that he does. So anyway, the other Dave jumps into the Signetti. Google me, Sig will take the Florida job or Alabama if those crazies run him out of town, and Indiana will revert to the rightful place in the basement cellar. That's obviously his next step is going to be moving up to a big time program. You know what? Hey, how did it work out so far for the guy from Washington that's now down at Alabama? He made Washington good immediately.
100%.
Shows up at Alabama and it's not going well. So I don't know if Kurt Signetti could show up at Florida and start winning immediately. But I do remember, and Scott, I think you'll agree with me here, just talking about the idea of somebody coming in and making a shift right away. We went from 5-7 in 2007 to winning 9 games, including a bowl game in 2008 with largely the same players that Bo Pelini inherited from Callahan. Then again, Callahan could recruit. He had a really good bunch of players sitting there in the cupboard for Pelini. So, and I think Rule's still trying to figure out what he wants his team to be. You know, I heard
that was
I heard somebody on the Average Joe sports show say on Saturday during the reaction show, I think it was Justice, the new guy. He said, where is the team that Rule promised us when he got hired? He promised us we're going to get back to Nebraska football, kicking everybody's ass on the offensive, defensive line. We're going to run the football. We're going to be boring as hell. We're going to play defense. Where's that team now? We had it for a couple of years. We had a good defense for a couple of years, and now we have a defense that's trying to figure out how to stop the run. And we can't figure out how to run. This is not at all the team that Rule said he was going to put together.
That was very much, and obviously we're on to this year, but I'll say, like last year, my biggest frustration with the team was the words being said in front of podiums weren't matching what was happening on the field. And I'm not talking about the wins and losses. Obviously, every coach is going to go up there and say, we're going to win. I'm talking about the style of football we say we're playing, as opposed to what we're actually, you know what I'm saying? So that's right there with it of where is our offensive line that, kind of like what I said earlier, we don't have a mobile quarterback. Why do we not have left tackle figured out? I keep going back to that. Why do we not have left tackle figured out? I can't wrap my head around it. Why is left tackle a huge question mark for us right now? That's crazy. I keep going back to and that is the one thing I can't get figured out of how do we not have left tackle figured out? I don't understand.
Yep.
Yes, they did.
It's
UCLA and Indiana, according to Moonbot just pointed out, worked us last year with Ty and Nash for certain. For certain. Those were 2 curious games that I couldn't figure out how the middle of that defensive line got blown up all the time. It was crazy.
And I know I'll sit here and play a hypothetical Husker fan. We're all sitting here, we're talking about all these problems, and of course we would want to win our game against Michigan. We had many opportunities to see that out, but on the flip side, Michigan had many opportunities that they didn't capitalize on either. And so the score could have
Right.
been worse, but it could have been better. There's a lot of aspects about that game where the score could have been wildly different if a few things fell into place in different ways. And we're sitting here and we're rightfully upset, and we're rightfully criticizing aspects of the team that we wish to see, that was promised to us, and that we aren't seeing. But I want to ask you guys, let's take a step back from the. I don't think we're definitely not doing the sky is falling. We're definitely
Right.
not doing that. But what are some aspects about this team that we saw in this game that can win us a lot more damn games? Because I think this team is still a good team. I still
I
think
do
we
too.
can put together a good run this year. I just don't see us beating Penn State at this point. It's not going to happen. Yeah. What are some things that you guys noticed in this game that you're like, oh, damn? Obviously, Dylan Raiola is the obvious number one pick. Like,
Right.
this is a good aspect of this team. But to kind of step away from the sky is falling type of mentality, and coaches need to be better coaches and all this stuff. I don't know. What did you guys see in the game that you're like, oh,
I've
damn?
got two. If you want me to go first, I got two of them.
Go ahead, Coach.
I would say that our wide receivers are legit. I think we all knew that, you know what I'm saying? But like having a big test against a team as good as Michigan, like Dane Key is going to be a goddamn problem this year. Like Dane Key they're going to have to roll over safeties to him, and which then opens up a Ja'Cory Barney who we can use in a whole bunch of different ways. Right. So I'd say our wide receiver and just receiving in general, I'll include Lyndon Meyer in that. I feel really good about that. The other thing I would say is I think our pass coverage did solid. I think, I do. And Michigan's not a bad team. Obviously, they're a really good team. And I will say, like, when you're getting some gashed on some of these runs, it's honestly pretty easy to get the pass game opened up when a lot of those run game stuff starts hitting. And I'll say, for the most part, like, our pass coverage looked good, even despite them. You'd think, hey, they're getting us on the run. Well, what's the next thing you do? I pointed it out on breakdowns on any show I've ever done breakdowns before. Once you get that run game going, you get those corners or safety to just hesitate just a half step. And what happens? You give up a big bomb. And we haven't been seeing any, you know what I mean? They're still staying disciplined. So I think you can tell that our D-backs are coached very well. I'm sure that's a mixture between, all our defensive coaches right now, because we have a lot of good coaches with backgrounds in DBs, I feel like. So, I feel like our wide receivers and DBs actually feel like I'm very encouraged by that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. If I were to answer that, Coach, I appreciate you pointing out the defensive side for certain, and the wide receivers for certain. I think this team goes as far as Dylan takes them. I mean, the obvious answer is Dylan. He stays healthy, and if this offensive line could figure something out when it comes to protecting him against the aggressive defenses, I don't know if we're going to see as aggressive a defense coming at us for the rest of the season until we get to Penn State, as we saw on Saturday. I don't know if teams like, Minnesota can generate that kind of pass rush, or Maryland can generate that kind of pass rush. Michigan's just got some dudes, and that inside linebacker that they moved outside is just a beast. So I don't know if our offensive tackles are going to have to deal with nearly the duress that they saw on Saturday. So that gives me hope. I'd say, though, that we're probably in for a lot more one-score games. Whether they're losses or not, we'll see. But at this rate, I don't see why there won't be a whole bunch of one-score games, and it's going to be a fight to get to 8 to 9 wins. I mean, I know I said on our Roulade versus Reality show that 10-2 is what I predicted, but I reserved the right to say that the Kool-Aid was a little tainted that night, and I was wrong. So I'm saying 9-3 is still doable. It's really
That's where I'm at. And
hell of an uphill climb from here based on what we saw from the lines of scrimmage.
Yeah.
But improvements can always be made. We'll see if they get made. I am not worried about the pass defense. I don't care what USC throws at this pass defense when they come into town. We're going to be in that game. We're not getting our doors blown off. We will be in that game. It's when we get to Penn State and we've got to deal with that two-headed running back room that's way better than what Michigan threw at us that I get a little scared of a blowout. But yeah, bunch of one-score games for the rest of the year. And I think this team has the fighting mentality. We saw that on Saturday. They could have got their doors absolutely blown off when they went down 10-0. In fact, I thought that was going to happen when we went down 10-0. That first time, I'm like, ball game. It's over. Your mom, Scott, was like, oh, dear God, Mr. Negative, you know. But I'd seen
100%.
I'd seen the movie before, and it looked like the same movie was starting to happen, and then it didn't. They fought back and fought back and fought back and fought back. Hey, as long as they got that fighting spirit, as long as they got that puncher's chance, if you will, that gives me hope for this season.
Oh yeah, no, I say year one, Matt Rule team gets blown out. Year two, Matt Rule team. Maybe towards the end they find, but we saw it. Like, I'd say they find a way to crumble apart. I didn't feel like us losing by 3 points was a result of us crumbling the game away at the end. It was more of a, you know what I'm saying? It was just
playing from behind all day, trying to climb.
Yeah, 100%. It wasn't. It didn't. I know we lost another one-score game. It just didn't feel the same to me, is what I'm trying to get at. It felt like a different type of one-score loss, I guess, not the one that we've seen for the last however many years.
You know what's weird? In a negative way, it felt like a one-score loss we didn't deserve. We deserved to lose by 2 scores.
Well, that's how I felt.
2.5. You know, like 7.
That was my takeaway. Is we could have lost that game by 2 scores or 3 scores.
Which, I mean, rightfully so. I mean, the odds of a Hail Mary completion at such a distance is like 1 out of 1,000. And so, like, technically the score should have been 30-20 if every other factor happened exactly the way it did.
Yep.
But yeah, just like you guys said, I'd say my main takeaway is that even though the game looked super lopsided, it's super lopsided. Michigan was dominating the game, and it was very apparent visually.
Right.
And the fact that we only lost by 3, and it was because our guys did not give up. It wasn't. We did get a little bit of luck. I'll admit, we did get a little bit of luck, but luck only goes as far as the effort is to make that luck be realized. And so our guys acted like they were going to win the game. And that is a huge shift in mentality, where in times of Husker past, it was, we're close, we could win this game, and then we just do something stupid. And this game just felt like, it was kind of just down to the wire, and football just happened the way football happens when 2 good football teams play together, and you just don't get enough time to get done what you need to get done. It wasn't a heartbreaking, like, we threw it away in the last minute. It wasn't that. So looking forward, I mean, this is an easy, in my opinion, I think this is an easy 8-win team.
Cool.
Yeah,
I like it.
Well, I actually have seen some good things that puts it into perspective. Is, hey, those of us that are predicting 8, 9, even 10 wins, you do know we were going to lose a game or 2, right? You know what I mean? Like, when we did pick, I mean, I was an 8-win guy. That was my prediction at the beginning of the year. I'd tell you, a week ago, you probably could have convinced me into 9 or 10. I was feeling pretty high on everything, but like, even then, like, you're going to lose a game. But I think, hey, we just can't let the same things happen, I guess. And I did see some things in the game that concerned me looking at if we were going to go try and win 9, 10 games. I couldn't necessarily say that's my prediction that would happen. Just some of the things of,
Here, let's just do this. Let's do this fun little thought exercise. We're a third of the way through the season. We're in a bye week. Let me just read off our remaining schedule, and without thinking about it,
brother.
without
Yep.
anything.
Yep. I
Without
did the same
anything
thing this
here.
morning.
Without doing anything here. Hold on a second. Let me get something up so I can properly keep track of this. Here we go.
Here's what, before you go, here's what I will say. Being a Husker fan living in non-Husker territory, I've been getting a lot of shit for the game on Saturday. And here's what I will say. I did this I pulled up the rest of the schedule and said, you tell me, because they're like, oh, Nebraska's so cooked. They're not. Just read the schedule. Go ahead. I'll let you go now. But I did this same exercise this morning.
All right. Well, I thought I had a pen and I don't have a pen. So that would have been the easiest way to keep track of it. So, Coach, Dad, here we go. Michigan State, win or loss?
Win.
Maryland, win or loss? Win. Minnesota, win or loss?
Win.
Loss.
Oh, I'm the tiebreaker here. I guess I would go loss, but that was based off preseason.
Northwestern, win or loss?
Win.
Huge win.
Yeah.
USC, win or loss?
Loss.
UCLA.
Better freaking
Win.
Penn State.
Loss.
Yeah.
Iowa.
Win.
So I've got it 9-3, I think.
And we've got it 8-4.
Yeah.
There it is. The only one that was questionable there, just naturally questionable, was Minnesota.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I did the same. I'm telling you, yeah, I'm with you.
And if I'm looking at this, when I see USC, I still think that game is more 50-50 than
I
than
do
I
too.
think.
I
because
do
their defense isn't that great.
No.
And they rely heavily on what they can do with their arm talent. Yes, they've got some dogs in the running back room. I'm not discrediting. They got like 3 dudes that are really, really capable in the running back room. But looking at the season, like, yes, we lost and it sucked. It was terrible. Offensive line, blow my brains out. But 8 wins. I think I'm very confident that we can win 8 games as long as we continue this mentality of we're going to win this game. We're not going to shoot ourselves in the foot. The only way that we're going to lose games for the rest of the season is just matchup comps that are the reason why we lost against Michigan is because the matchups were disproportionate in a way that we could have won because the matchup between our wide receivers and their secondary, our wide receivers are clearly better. And their defensive line was clearly better than our offensive line. It was really, there was a lot, like I said earlier, there was a lot of things that if they went in our direction, we won that game. There's a lot of things that if it went in more towards Michigan's direction, it would have been a worse score. I mean, it's the tale of life. You just get what you get, and you don't throw a fit.
Yeah, you heard that a lot growing up, didn't you?
Yeah.
Hey, the other Dave put a very good question in the chat of what are the odds of losing a game when you complete a Hail Mary pass? And I don't know, but that makes my brain hurt. That makes my brain hurt.
Odds are greatly different when it's in a Hail Mary pass at the end of the 4th quarter.
No, I agree with that, but
that's like 100% if you complete it. And in the 2nd quarter, I have no idea what that.
Still, I see the point he's making, though. Man, that's tough.
So there is an update from Justin. I'm going to buy a new capture card. This shit is for the birds. So I am quoting him there. So you can't blame me for cursing. I guess, are we kind of done with the discussion, or is there any other things you guys thought of that you'd like to discuss about Michigan or the way forward? I mean, we kind of projected a little bit the way forward.
I personally got my anger out.
Good. Yeah, I kind of, once you get 2 or 3 days removed from the game, it's kind of like, even 2 hours after the game, I was kind of like, well,
yeah, no, I'm with you.
I can't say that I'm surprised. I guess I was just surprised at the pass pro. If we can fix the pass pro, and shore up a little bit of that run game, get some tackling squared away and get some fits squared away. Cause that first big run that they broke, that 75-yarder, was like Marquise was left on an island. He had to make that tackle because there was nobody else. And he got de-pantsed live on TV. And then he was out of the game till the fourth quarter. They yanked him till the fourth quarter. So,
yeah.
But anyway, all right, let's give our game ball awards. I didn't get one from Justin, so I'll just throw the ones that we did. Scott and I both agreed on Ja'Cory Barney Jr. The dude was just everywhere. He had a great game overall. A lot of all-purpose yards. He had a great return on a punt that you thought he was going to lose yardage on. The only thing he did that he shouldn't have done that maybe changed some of the complexion of the second half was fielding that punt inside the 5-yard line. Can't do that. Can't do that.
Here's what I'll just I know we're doing game ball stuff, but this is kind of interesting because I'll tell you, in the moment I was very upset with Ja'Cory, but after listening to Rule, I feel like they were actually telling him to do that, which is even more mind blowing to me. But just that's kind of interesting.
Inside the 10, that's never coached.
That is very much never coached. That's why I was very. I could be wrong. Maybe I misunderstood what he was saying. I'm just
all good. You've got the fans as your.
I do. I know. I went with the weird
crazy the whole game.
Yeah, no, I picked the fans. It was one of the most fun, and I'll even include just even the pregame stuff in there, right? Like,
yep.
I thought the tailgating experience just all around, like I felt like there was somehow even. I know this place is sold out and full to the brim every week, but it felt like there was even more tailgating going on than normal, right? It just felt full. You couldn't walk around anywhere. And I understand this happens all the time, but it just, if it's always at a 10, I felt like this was at an 11. You know what I'm saying?
Very cool.
Yeah, I thought that was a really cool. There's a lot of really cool tailgates going on. There's a lot of pregame shows like in parking lots and different spots around downtown. Like, felt like when I was kind of walking around, I'm like, hey, there's a lot of microphones out here. You know what I'm saying? Like, of people doing some stuff. So I thought that was really cool.
You were on NBNR too, weren't you?
Yeah. I went in and I did probably about 20 minutes of, they needed someone to step in and fill 20 minutes. So I kind of gave my keys to the game and did that. That was really cool.
You've got their ear, coach. So I just need to tell you to tell them one thing, and that's this. Every time Michigan comes to the last 2 times Michigan has come to town, those guys have done a live show.
Yes.
They're screwing it up for everybody. So they need to stop doing that when Michigan comes to town. So if I hear they're going to have a live show, I'm coming out there and I'm going to unplug their stuff.
Hey, so. I will relay the message.
Okay,
but hey, this is something really cool. I got to meet in person for the first time, Brian and Kenny from Husker Army. I've never met them in person before. So that was really cool. You know what I mean? I've never got to do that. We have talked to them a whole bunch of times through phone calls, texts, podcasts, video, but it's really cool to be able to get to meet them in person for the game.
Yeah, man. Kenny and Brian are good people.
Yeah, no, that was really cool. And the fans, it was just one of the more, again, I understand. I'd say Nebraska fans are always at a 10 in terms of pregame stuff and in the stadium, but I'd say it felt like a step up. You know what I mean? I thought it was a really cool. That's why I truly feel like we have the best fans in the country.
Yeah. No doubt about it. No doubt.
Yeah, and I think it's because we know that this year is the year that we take another step forward. And so in times past, you go to a game against a ranked team, Ohio State, Michigan, blah, blah, blah. And there's always that hope that it's like, oh, we could knock them off.
You kind of know what's coming.
You kind of know what's coming. But this game, I think all of Husker Nation was like, we really got a shot at this. Right. Let's really lean into that. Let's really take it to another level. So I'm not surprised.
Think about this. We were talking about the NBNR guys. Jared was drinking Kool-Aid before the game. He was like, this is the one we're going to win. I love that dude. I ain't never seen him say we're going to win a game against a good team.
Well, how long do you think it'll be before he'll say we will again?
Oh, brother, it's going to take a decade. I feel like he was crushed.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's like, one of the first times I've ever seen him be like, this is the game we're going to do it.
now that we're kind of wrapping up the show, and before we get to the info of, where to follow all of us here out there on the social media, Coach, your high school football team this Friday is pursuing some history.
Yes, sir. We have a chance to do something that Uniontown football has not done in a decade. I was in high school the last time they did this, playing high school football, is win 3 games in a row, which is we have a chance to go do that on Friday, and it's our homecoming game. So obviously a lot of added pressure and all that. But no, we're playing some good football right now. I want to give my boys a shout out. I know a lot of people are giving me a lot of credit for this, but I want to give the boys credit for this. They're the Southeast Kansas Team of the Week. Their best start to a football season they've had in over 5 years now is sitting at 2-1. The first time they've had a winning record at any point of the season, and that includes 1-0. Like, they've never had a winning record since every kid on my team was either in elementary school or just starting middle school. So that's kind of a cool kind of thing for them. And so we're playing good football right now, and I want to give them their flowers for that. But like I told them, mentioned it today, is the quote that we're kind of going is the best win is the next win. So it's time to just keep going and just win. That's been my message is feeling good. We beat 2 pretty good teams, but also, hey, it's football. We got a lot of things to improve. That's what's crazy to me is I feel like we haven't played a full, complete game yet. And I'm just being honest. I mean, this isn't a secret. I feel like we haven't played a full, complete game yet. And hey, we're playing pretty good football right now. So we can find a way to put everything together. We're going to be in pretty good shape.
And this last one was pretty important to your boys too. We were talking about that before the show. Not only the big win. I mean, you guys pretty much blew them out for typical high school score and being as good as that team has generally been in the past. So that's pretty cool that all your guys, all your seniors.
None of my guys had ever beaten the team that we played on Friday. None of my guys had ever beaten them
in any sport, right?
Yeah, no, never beaten.
Wow. That is so cool. You're making a difference, Coach, and I appreciate that. The leadership style that you're doing and the things that you're emulating from the current Husker staff and the belief and the positive reinforcement, as well as caring but not coddling, getting in their grill when they need to get their grills ripped off, and just I appreciate.
Hey, you saw it, Ken. I can be intense. Yeah, I can be intense.
Dude, I just about pulled that fence down a couple of times. I'm like, just make a tackle, damn it! But
they hear it from me.
So I can't promise. I don't have anything on my Friday schedule for this week. I can't promise that I'm going to come down there, but I'm going to do my best to get down there to Uniontown and catch that game. Sweet. See your homecoming. See what happens. See you guys go 3-0 in the last 3. That would be so cool.
That'd be really cool. Playing against a pretty solid team, so we're gonna give them everything we got and just keep playing football. You know what I mean? We're sitting at this is kind of foreign territory for a lot of these guys, but we're sitting at the top of our league right now, which I told our boys today means we're getting everybody's best shot. We got a target on our back.
Yep.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do about it?
Yep.
So
see how they respond.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, that pretty much wraps this show up. Thanks so much, guys, for doing this tonight. And hopefully Justin gets his camera situation squared away so he can get his next show out there. For those of you who follow Justin or haven't followed Justin, he is at the Voice of College Football, the Nebraska channel. So at Nebraska VOCFB, I think, is the channel name, and then you can follow him on X at _H-Town Husker. It's a great follow. He's got some great stuff out there, and he's apparently going to be putting together a Twitter handle for specifically his Nebraska football channel too. So cool. Stay tuned for that. How about you, Coach? Where can folks find you out there?
Any social media platform, go to at the BA Coaches Show, and you'll find me talking Husker football.
All righty.
Yeah, and you guys can follow me on X at ScottGenRedPod. Follow me there for whatever people follow people for.
And you know the drill for us. It's at GenRedPod on Facebook, X, and YouTube. Our website is genredpod.com. And our email is genredpod@gmail.com. Or if you prefer not to watch podcasts, but listen to them. This live stream and every live stream that we do is available by subscribing to Generation Red on Apple, Google, or Spotify, or on your favorite podcast catcher app. So we'd like to thank everybody for watching. Really enjoy doing this. Hey, thanks a lot, Big Red Junkies. Best looking podcasters, that's for sure. Well, I'm a little uncomfortable hearing you say that, but I do appreciate it. And just so you know, I've got the ring on the finger, so no shenanigans, boys.
But, I think they might have been talking about no block, no rock. So
no, there's no way they're talking about those guys.
That's true.
Moonbot couldn't let you inflate your ego too much.
Yeah, Moonbot says great show, guys, but he says
Love
that
you,
every week. I think he feels obligated, but we appreciate it, Moonbot, nonetheless. Anyway, for Justin, for Coach, for Scott, and myself, together we are Generation Red, and we are here every week to chronicle Nebraska's inevitable return to college football greatness, one podcast at a time, because there is no place like Nebraska.
And Iowa's corn sucks.
In rule, we trust.
Amen.
I love that thing more and more every time we do that at the end of every show. It's awesome. We got to get something for Justin to say, but maybe that's it. Maybe that's all we need is this just in rule we trust. So, all right, guys, we'll see you next week. We will be back next week to preview Michigan State. So 8 p.m., same bat channel, same bat time. We will be here. Go Big Red. We love you all. Thanks for watching.